Hi guys, and welcome back to my last Halloween video this October and my last video in October completely. Today I'm going to be showing you 6 last minute Halloween makeup looks that you can do if you're in a pinch. The majority of these took half an hour or less, but there's a few of them in here that did take a little bit longer, so if you have only an hour to get ready, this is perfect for you. To start off this dolls look, I take some white face paint and put that all over my face just because I want my face to be a little bit lighter than the rest of my body, because I feel like whenever I think of a porcelain doll, they've always got really fair skin, like light skin, and the bodies don't typically tend to match their faces because their bodies aren't porcelain but their face is. So I covered my full face in white face paint and then foundation and concealer and powder, all the usual, just to give myself like an even base. I just want to say at this point that this is what I think a typical porcelain doll would look like, so the colours that I use and the makeup look that I do is kind of my own vision, but you can really customise this to be how you want to, so you can change the eye look, you can change the lip colour, you can really just do whatever you want. For my brows, I'm just taking my Revolution Extra Spice palette and I'm doing like a really thin, short brow. Whenever I think of these dolls, I always think like they're just drawn on, small, curved kind of brow. So I didn't fill them in as close together as I usually would. I just did them very, very like kind of curved, no real harsh lines, and yeah, just kind of left it like that. I went in with the shade Cookie Dough now, and you can kind of see that I smiled and like mapped out where my natural like cheeks are whenever I smiled at the apples of my cheeks, and I kind of followed that line right from my nose all the way around to like your kind of typical bronzy contoury areas, and then I kind of just go back in and deepen that shade, blend it right out as well. Like I try to make it look like it's blending in to make it look like a more of a natural curve, and then some of the parts of that were just a bit too harsh, so I went over that with my foundation brush just to dull that down. I then just did a little bit of contouring for my nose, just a little bit, because otherwise it just looked like I didn't have a nose. And then I also go in to my chin and really round that off to like help create the illusion of the fake doll mouth as well. And again, just blending all of that out as seamlessly as possible. Taking the same shade, I go all over my eyelids. I'm trying to keep all the colours like neutral to everything that I use on my face colour wise. I'm also using it on my eyes to create a bit more depth and to make everything go together a bit better. And then just take some black shadow and do like a really like not even neat wing. It's kind of like just a really blown out liner look. I do wing it out ever so slightly. I kind of wish I didn't do that now, but it just happened. So, you know, what else can I say? And then I'm taking this really like bubblegum Barbie pink shade from the NikkieTutorials palette, and I'm using that on my cheeks, and I'm really focusing that right on the apples of my cheeks. And I do eventually kind of blend it out along the brown line a little bit later, but I really wanted to focus that bright pink on my cheeks because, again, if you think right back to God knows how long ago when they had these porcelain dolls, there was always such like a bright blush on the cheeks. And I've also done just a little bit on my nose. I take just a simple eyeliner, liquid eyeliner. You could use a pencil liner, you can use a brown pencil, anything like that. And I just do some freckles. They don't have to be neat, they don't have to be symmetrical. You can do as many or as little as you like. I was going to do some on my nose, but I decided not to, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. Then underneath my eyes, I just took some white face paint. I eventually do get a bit annoyed at this because it doesn't come out as white as I want it to, and it blends itself out, and I wasn't happy with it. So I basically put this below my eyes to make my eyes look a bit bigger, like as a typical doll would have. And then when I kind of realised I didn't like how it was looking with the face paint, I took my eyeliner instead and just went right over that again. And you can really see the difference, like the white eyeliner looks so much better than the white face paint did. And I just fill all of that in. I then take a black liner and I kind of just do like, I kind of line the bottom parts of the white. I don't do all of the thing in, like all of the white in black, I just do the little bottom parts. I don't know, I think that just looks a bit better. And then I draw in a few fake lashes, again, just because the doll always had theirs drawn on, typically. And then I just really lightly line my upper lash line as well, just to kind of like tie it all together. I apply some mascara as usual, and then later on I decide to like group my eyelashes together to make them like individual lashes. If you have got like really big eyelashes for like doll style, like really separated eyelashes, you could use them instead. But I currently don't have any fake eyelashes, so I thought putting some mascara on and then just pinching them together to make them slightly pointy. It's not that noticeable, but it kind of works anyway. So if you don't have any fake eyelashes, try that. For the part of my mouth, like the fake lines to make it look like you've got a fake mouth, I first use eyeshadow just to kind of outline where I want it to go because I'm not that confident doing it with the liner. I then did take the liner and went straight down, tried following that line as closely as possible. This took a lot of concentration and it wasn't very straight, to be honest with you. The lines were a little bit wobbly, so I tried going over it to kind of neaten it up, but honestly, no one's going to be looking that close to your face, so if they're not 100% straight and perfect, who cares? I then took a red lip liner because, again, in my mind, these dolls stereotypically have bright red lips. You can really do whatever colours you want to. This is just kind of what I envisioned, but if you have a different idea as to what a porcelain doll looks like, go ahead and do like different colours or slightly different styles. This is just kind of like my typical take on it. But red lips for me was very much like in my mind, so very defined bright red lips. I also overlined them quite a bit, really accentuated my cupid's bow, made that really, really sharp, really, really pointy. And then I extended the outer corners of my lips as well. But yeah, that's my finished porcelain doll look. For this next look, I start off by contouring in actually a green colour. I did a Frankenstein inspired look in my last Halloween video, which is office friendly stuff, and I did kind of the same thing in that one, but I wanted to do a slightly different variation for Frankenstein, which is more like obviously Frankenstein. So I just do the usual areas, cheekbones, nose, forehead, places like that. And I take a black eyeshadow and just really messily put that into my eyes. I want to make them look a bit more sunken, a bit more just like ragged, tired, just a bit more like dead looking. So I really just messily put the black everywhere, blend it out really, just not even in a generic shape, just pretty much anywhere. Put that in my lower lash line, and again, really, really smoke that out. And I also drag some of the black slightly through the bags of my eyes, just to make it look like I'm even more tired and just a bit more like gaunt. Brows are just the basic. You can do whatever you want with them. You don't even have to do brows if you don't want to. You can just, you know, block them out and leave that as is. But I just filled them in with a black and kept them quite simple and just kind of how I do them kind of every day. I actually take a black eyeshadow on a really fluffy brush and just lightly go around my lips with that to make them just look a bit more like, again, I'm going to keep saying it, just a bit more dead, a bit more gaunt. And I think it just makes it look a bit messier as well. You can use any lip colour. For my last video I did a black lip, but this one I decided to go for quite a deep purpley red, almost like a vampy colour. I think it just kind of suited because when you think of Frankenstein you generally think of green and purple, so I wanted to put a bit more of purple into this look in particular this time around. I also did purple in my lower lash line as well as the black. For my forehead I just take some black eyeshadow and I just do a straight line across. And I also do the exact same thing on my neck as well, because when you think of Frankenstein again, he's normally got the stitches across his forehead, and if he's not got them there, he's got them around his neck, or vice versa, you know, so he's always got that sort of stitching detail to him. I then just take a black pencil. This is actually a brow pencil because I couldn't find my black eyeliner, but I just take a pencil and do little dots along each of the stitching lines, just so I can add in some like stitching holes, and then I do end up going in with a black liquid eyeliner and actually drawing in some lines of stitches as well. Just connecting the dots, like you can do X's if you want to, you can do some straight lines going through it and a few X's in between. I just decided to go for a zigzag sort of design. It's not really the best looking thing. I do wish I did more crosses and like lines, but I think this kind of does the job anyway. And I'll just do the exact same thing on my forehead and along my neck. I don't know about you, but I really struggle trying to get my peripherals, so like the sides of my neck and then the far sides of my head were so difficult for me to get. I just couldn't get it right. I then take some green on a fluffy brush again, and I just kind of put that along where the stitching is to kind of make that seem like it's got a bit of like rotting to it and just bring back more of the Frankenstein colour. This is about as much green as you can get in when you're not really painting your full face green, but I think it kind of added a little bit of something. You can also put a bit of black in there as well to put some more shadows in there. I then just do some green eyeshadow on my temples, and forgive me here, somehow my camera went out of focus, I have no idea how, so the next couple of seconds is out of focus. But put some green on my temples and a bit of lash glue, because I actually got some old nuts from my like toolkit, and I just stuck them to my head. They're not matching in colour, it'd be better if they were, but I wanted some nuts and bolts on my face, because it's Frankenstein. But that is basically the finished look overall, and again, I'm sorry that the shots are out of focus. I'm starting off this next look with my brows, just filling them in black as usual, but I'm trying to make them look a little bit thinner. It didn't really work out that well because my brows are quite thick at the moment, but Just made them a little bit thinner than I usually would anyway. I then take a little purpley, plummy sort of toned eyeshadow and I just put that all through my crease, not very neatly, kind of just messily, and I blend it out quite a lot. Just do that on both sides. I want the colour to be quite strong, but like still blends it out quite a lot, so you can still see the colour, but that is kind of seamless when it blends out. And I'm doing this in a more rounded shape. And on my lower lash line, I'm doing another kind of plum sort of purpley shade, but a bit darker instead and a bit more cool toned, just to kind of smoke that out and make that look a little bit darker and more defined than the top. All over my lid, I'm just applying a black shadow. Be careful when you're blending this out though, because if you blend it out too much, you start losing the colour that you've already applied into your crease, and if you don't blend out enough, it just looks a bit weird. And sometimes if you blend it out, you actually make the colour go quite muddy looking. So just kind of take your time with it, go nice and slow, and just be really, really delicate when you're trying to blend out, and that way you should get a nice even blend without it looking too muddy. I also bring some of that black just down into my lower lash line as well, just a little bit to smoke it out. And on my inner corners and on my brow bone, I use a pinky kind of shimmer shade to highlight. On my lids as well, I use this black glitter eyeshadow from BH Cosmetics. It's actually really nice as well. I've never used it before and I really think it just added something extra to the look. It's not very like in your face, it is quite subtle, but I think it really adds to the more glam side of this look. And I think without it, it would just look a little bit boring. So I'm quite glad that I actually added that in. And it is quite a nice eyeliner too, so I'll be using that again in the future. So just put that all over my eyelids and then also slightly in my lower lash line. To contour, I use the same shade that I used on my lower lash line, and I use this kind of heavily, but I try to make it like quite blended out along the top. And then later on, I do use my foundation brush to kind of neaten up the line underneath and make the line quite sharp itself. But I still want quite a soft, nice looking blend, but with also the sharpness at the bottom, if you know what I mean. So I kind of carve out my contour with my foundation brush. And I also contour my nose lightly as well with that exact same shade, just very, very subtly. You don't want to go over the top with that because that might look a bit strange since I'm using a more pinky purpley shade. For my lips, I just use a dark purple lip pencil. I want this to look very vampy because it's a vampire. So it's quite a dark purple plum colour just to match my eyes. If you're using like a red eyeshadow in your eyes, you can use a red lipstick or you can just use straight up black. It's completely up to you. But I really like the idea of having a nice vampy look. So I also just matched my lipstick as well with the lip liner. I'm applying lashes to this look because I think with such a dramatic glam eye, you really need big fat lashes to pull this off. So I just put on some like usual lashes and I really think that completed the look and made it look, I don't know, very like flirty, sexy, vampy, smoky, glam, all of those fun words. I then just took some fake blood. I actually got this blood from one of the Halloween costumes that I got from Amazon. This came with a cheerleading one, and it's quite like a thick blood, but it's also kind of runny, so it works really well with this. And I just do two little neat blobs on each side of my mouth. You can put these wherever you want to, really. I just decided because it's going to be a bit more glam, put it either side of my mouth like I've just eaten, but I've done it politely. But yeah, once you put on the blood, that is the finished look. I'm changing the vampire, the glampire, if you will, and I'm making it into more of a stereotypical, a bit more gory, dead looking vampire. So I'm starting off by wiping off my lipstick, the fake bloods. It stains so much, this lipstick, it's ridiculous. So I really just messily wipe that off. And I also take off my fake lashes and I really carefully remove the glitter from my eyeshadow. Be so careful when you do that because you might actually scratch your eyelids if you do that too harshly, because glitter obviously is abrasive, so it's gonna be quite sore. And if your eyes are sensitive, then you know that could really like do a bit of damage, you know. I'm just putting some foundation over my lip area and just kind of underneath my eyes where some of the glitter has fallen out, just to kind of cover that back up again because I kind of lost a little bit of the foundation when wiping things off, and glitter and all stuff like that, like I said. I'm now taking black eyeshadow again and putting that onto my eyelids. This time I'm bringing it a lot higher up and I'm blending it a lot more messy. I'm kind of doing it more winged out than the last look, but it's up to you what shape you kind of do for that. I just prefer to change this up a slight little bit more. I'm basically just covering all of the purple that was on my eyelid on the top, and then I do put more black on the bottom, but I kind of just leave some of the purple down there as well, just because I think I still like the hint of the purple under there. I think it still makes you look a bit more tired. I really messily blend that out along the crease, and I also ruffle some of that into my eyebrow. And then with whatever's left on my brush, I just take that slightly down my nose to lightly contour. You don't want to go too over the top of bring it down your nose, just kind of slightly to give you like a bit more of a angular looking nose, and just again a bit more dead looking, and just going back in on the other side and blending all of that out as well. Finally, I take some of the last bits of black and a little bit of purple and running that through the bags of my eyes to make myself look a bit more tired. Almost like I haven't fed in quite a while, so I'm a hungry vampire right now. I take a bit more of black and purple and put that through my contoured areas that are already there, and I darken that up because when I put the black on, it kind of made my cheeks look a bit washed out. So I darken up, and I also use it to sink in my cheeks, so you can see I bring it quite far down this time around. Just adding a bit more darkness, a bit more depth, and then I blend all of that out quite nicely. This is an optional step though, you don't have to make it darker if you don't really want to, if you think it looks fine as it is. I just felt like it made it look a bit more like I was tired and dead. And I also do the exact same thing, just on my temples, only very lightly. I don't put too much there at all. Just enough to give it the kind of impression that I'm quite tired. Finally, I take some of the same black and purple mixture and just roughly do that around my lips. Underneath my eyes, I kind of go for a Vampire Diaries sort of vampire look where they have the veins under their eyes. I kind of do something similar to that. So I take some black, I take some purple, and also a little bit of a pinky red, and just run that underneath my eyes. You can use any colours for these. Green and blue could be quite good to make it look more like veins. And you can make these as dark or as light as you like too, so I tried to blend it out slightly with my finger in some points. I also use my foundation brush to try and make it a little bit lighter because I think it was a bit too dark when I used the black. But yeah, I basically just try to make that look like natural veins. And I also do some slightly as well, just above my lips, and I think I do a few below my lips as well, but you can really put these wherever you want to. On my lips, I do try to make them look a lot lighter than what they are in my eyes though. For my lips, I use the same lipstick that I used in the other vampire one, but I apply it very, very messily, because then I take a brush and I blend out the edges of the lipstick to make my lips kind of look just, I don't know, washed out, not very much shape to them, quite faded. Maybe just like I've had something to drink and I've kind of just ruined the lipstick that I already had on, if you know what I mean. And then I take a black liquid lipstick and I just dab that in a brush and onto the centre of my lips to give my lips a bit more depth and again, just make myself look a bit more dead. I also tried not to spread my lips out too much when I was doing this so that it kind of settled at the cracks, and that way made my lips look a bit more chapped. I apply the same fake bloods. I put little drops on the side of my mouth at first, and then I'm like, actually no, I want to spread this everywhere. So I use the other end of this brush, which is a fluffier side, and I really messily just stipple that all around my mouth, just in random places. I did have the idea later on that it'd be quite good to get like a toothbrush and like flick fake blood up my face, but I didn't think about that until I was editing, so you can do that too if you want to, that'll look really cool. But yeah, once the blood is on, that is the completed look. I'll start off applying eye primer because there's going to be a lot of black eyeshadow and it needs something to stick to, and if you're going to be going out or doing anything, you want it to last quite a while. So I'd start off putting some eye primer all over my eyes and then just pack on a black shadow. I tried to do this in quite like a rounded way, but it kind of came out a bit of a weird shape, so just take your time with this because once you've put the black on, it ain't coming off. I just kind of make myself look like I've been G-noted and my emo self has come out and I'm about to go stand in line for a My Chemical Romance concert. Like, I put on a lot of black and I remind myself of me when I was in high school. So just pack all of that on, get the shape you kind of want. I did one eye and then did the other eye just so that I can get the general shape and then copy that. But if you want to just do both of them at the same time, it's completely up to you. They don't have to be symmetrical, they don't have to be the same on both sides. That's what symmetrical means. But yeah, just kind of pack on that colour, pack on that pigment, and then later on just go ahead and blend it all out softly. You still want it to be quite harsh with the edges, so you don't need to blend it out too much, but just a little bit of blending I think gives it a bit more depth and a bit more, I don't know, like it's your eye sockets as opposed to just black eyeshadow. Next up is brows. I try to do these as black as possible and quite like angular and sharp, and also on the inside of my brows I'd make them kind of like slant up so they look quite angry. I'm kind of going for a bit of a cartoony looking skeleton skull sort of thing, so I want it to look quite stereotypically angry, so I do like the ruffle, is it like the ruffle or the furrow in my brow at the front, And I also add in some like little extra crease details later on, but just for the general shape, I just wanted to have it quite pointy, quite over dramatic, and to make it look, I don't know, quite like Grim Reaper-ish, kinda, if you know what I mean. If you ever watched Adventures of Grim and Mandy, kinda like that. For the nose, I just do a stereotypical double-ended teardrop sort of nose. I do this with the eyeshadow, so that way if I do make any mistakes, it's easier to rub off than if I just went straight in with like eyeliner or something like that. So just get the basic shape with eyeshadow, fill it in just for now to get like the general look of it, and then later on I do just go in with an eyeliner pen, liquid eyeliner, and to clean it up and darken it and things like that. For the lips, what I do is I just kind of extend my actual lips out the way just to give me a bit extra room to put some more teeth. And to get the lines of where my teeth are, I literally just look at my own teeth. A common mistake that I see for a lot of people is that they just do like the lines symmetrical on the top and the bottom. But really, if you look at your teeth, your two front teeth on the top, they're a lot wider than your bottom teeth. So for the first two teeth, you actually have 4 on the bottom. And I see a lot of people make that mistake and just make it like symmetrical that way. But really, if you just follow the lines of your actual teeth, that makes a lot more sense. And I think it makes it just look a little bit better as opposed to if you just had like, I don't know, just symmetrical lines. So you can see there that like for the first front 2 teeth on the top, I've got 4 on the bottom, or thereabouts, if you know what I mean. So yeah, if you just basically follow what your actual teeth look like, you've pretty much got the basic shape there. It's actually really simple. It's not a difficult thing to do to get this sort of look. For my cheekbone bits, basically what I'm following is where I would usually contour, and when I get about halfway down my cheek, I then curve up and then go quite sharply down towards kind of the base of my chin. You can take that down as far as you like, or as short, like kind of short down as you like. It's completely up to you. This can be quite tricky, and mine were not symmetrical. Like, it took me a while to get this symmetrical, which is why again I did this with eyeshadow, because if I made any mistakes, it'd be a lot easier to clean up. I then just take the same black eyeshadow with a fluffier brush and I fill in the hollows of this. So basically, like, where I've put the shading in it already is where you kind of want to focus a lot of the black, because that's where it would typically be a lot darker. Some people, when they do their skulls, do like the actual jaw on the bottom, but I wanted to make this kind of simple and not do that, so I kind of just followed the normal lines, blended them out, kind of shaded them in. This did take me some time to do, I'm not gonna lie, I am quite bad at blending out like a lot of things like this. I'm not that great, so just take your time with it, keep packing in the shadow, keep blending it out, build it up to as much as you like or as little as you like. If you're not too fast about it being an even blend, that's fine, it still looks alright anyway. Like, mine wasn't that great and I think the illusion is there, so just kind of work on it as much as you like to do, and yeah, you get this really cool effect of like a skull looking face. I then just take an eyeliner pen and I kind of outline my cheekbone area because I think that it lost a little bit of the definition that I was wanting, so I thought I'd just do that, add a little bit more like of a contrast, and I think it helped it push itself out a little bit more as well, so it made it look more like a shadow and then like an actual like outline. I then also just add in some details on my eyebrows with the eyeliner as well, just a few more little like creases. And then I fill in around my nose with my eyeliner just to give it a bit more of like a clean line. I don't actually end up filling this in with eyeliner, I fill it in with eyeshadow, but I'll do that a little bit later on. I then also just outline all the lines I've already done on my lips. One of the other benefits of doing it in eyeshadow first is that you kind of already have like a natural shading in between the teeth, which I quite like. So if you wouldn't really get that if you did it with eyeliner first, you'd have to like add them in later on, which can be a bit tricky. So I would recommend doing it with like an eyeshadow first, kind of making the lines a bit thicker, a bit more messy, and that way you kind of get a bit more depth in your teeth later on. I then take a black lipstick and I just do like the insides of my mouth. I can't cover up my full teeth area, so I just do like a really thin strip in my mouth, and then I kind of shut my lips together to see where I need to colour it in the top lip, and I just fill that in. I don't really do any more than that, it's just to kind of give it like the illusion of a gap and makes it a bit more like skeleton-y looking sort of thing, if you know what I mean. My nose, I actually decided not to fill it with eyeliner, partially because it would have taken me forever to take it off and I was doing a few looks in the same day, but also because I liked the actual definition of the shadow as opposed to a solid black. I then just take a white eyeliner and I kind of highlight some areas, so above my cheekbones, throughout my teeth, above my nose. I think I also do some around my eyebrows as well. Yep, there you go. Just to add in a bit more like highlightiness and a bit more of a cartoon kind of feel. I don't want it to look so realistic, I just wanted it to look quite like sketchy. Is that the right word? This one definitely did take me quite a while to do, so you'd need about an hour on your hands to do it like this, but yeah, it's really fun to do and it is actually quite simple and easy. So that is basically the finished look. starting off this simple devil look with my eyebrows. I'm just doing them as normal, just trying to make sure they're as black as possible really, so I'm just really packing on the black eyeshadow with that, but otherwise they're completely normal how I would normally do my eyebrows. Then I go in with a red eyeshadow on my lower lash line, and I kind of really smoke that out. I really like just make it quite thick and heavy, and then I wing that out just to make it like look kind of pointy and like devilish. I am going to do a winged liner on top of that, so doing this first is a really good guide to try and get your eyeliner even, because this is easier to correct than, you know, correcting your eyeliner later on. But yeah, so I really heavily pack that on, really blend it out quite a lot. I do kind of bring it right into my inner corners, but like more straight than just following the curve of my eye, if you know what I mean. I then just take a smaller brush and a little bit of red eyeshadow just to map out the shape of devil horns above my eyebrows. These do not come out symmetrical, and it kind of irks me a little bit that they didn't come out symmetrical, but at the end of the day, who's really going to notice that much? But yeah, I kind of do these lightly at first, just in case I made any mistakes, and yeah, just trying to get the general shape of what they're meant to look like. I then go in with a liquid liner and I do a really long, thin wing. I didn't want to make this too thick of a wing because I had so much going on my lower lash line. Going back to it now though, I wish I did do it slightly thicker, but I think any kind of wing that suits your eye shape is absolutely fine for that, as long as it's kind of like meeting the end of the red line of the eyeshadow underneath. But that's what I mean about this being such a great guide, because it was so easy to do my eyeliner and get it even on both sides when I did the eyeshadow. Just putting on some normal mascara. I don't actually put on eyelashes for this look, and I kind of wish I did. I do think it would make it look a lot nicer, but honestly I had so many looks to film, so I didn't really have time to put on lashes. But yeah, if you want to put lashes on with this would look great. Maybe some really thick dramatic lashes would look amazing. But I just stuck with mascara and I think it looked fine. And then I do just go back in and extend the inner corners of my eyeliner as well, just to kind of make my eyes look a little bit more like, I don't know, a bit more kind of devilish, if you know what I mean, like they look a bit more like evil. Using my eyeliner, I then outline the horns above my eyebrows. Be careful when you're doing this, because you might make a mistake, especially if they're already not symmetrical. You might make them look a bit less symmetrical. So I wasn't really happy with how these did come out, but at the end of the day, like I said, no one's going to be looking at them. I did just try my best to try and get the lines to be as like consistent as possible, so that it wasn't really thin in some areas and then really thick in other areas. And if you make a mistake, you can kind of just like go around and carve back out again, or you can just kind of scratch it off like I did. And then I just put on some red eyeshadow on top of that just to really strengthen that colour and make it a lot brighter, darker red. For my lips, I'm just going with a simple red lip. You can really do any colour you want to, but I thought red would go great with this, considering it is meant to be a devil, especially if you're dressing up in all red as well, or all black as well would be great. But I just do a simple red lip for this. But yeah, other than that, that is the completed look. So guys, that's it for this video and for all of my Halloween videos this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this mini series that I kind of did with all the Halloween looks, and I hope that you find some of these at least a little bit helpful. If you do recreate any of these, please send me a picture. I'll link my Instagram, Twitter, Discord, everything else down below. So, you know, if you do recreate this, please send me a picture. I'd love to see what you do. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you left me a like. Please leave me a comment as well as to which look was your favourite, and if you want to stick around and see my journey on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.